Hey, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. We are simulcast with KGRADB.com, KGRA on Facebook and on YouTube. And those of you that are listening on radio, hello to the 19th century. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Hit that subscribe button, also the thumbs up and the reminder bell. We have got a packed show for you tonight. If you're just clicking on and you didn't see what we are going to be talking about tonight, it is the evidence review, or the post-mortem, is Ken's favorite way of putting it, for the Alley Theater. And Ken, you said you got a whole bunch to cover tonight, right?
Yeah, we have a lot to do. And we are going to try to fit this into the 2 hours. So we are going to dispense with a lot of formalities here as I start dropping things.
Oh, God, here we go.
We're going to dispense with a lot of the formalities here, bring in our guests, and get to these. Those of you who watch the live program, you'll have a frame of reference. If you haven't, it's up on the archives at Dead Air Full Spectrum, so you might want to go back. Watch the 2 hours of that, and we'll wait for you to come back.
Yes.
No, we can't do that. But let's get right to it, George.
Yeah, quick shout out to Aaron for doing such an amazing job with our banner. Those were not set up expressions. Those expressions were during the investigation and some of the things that we had experienced live. So I'm looking forward to seeing those memories again, and then whatever is going to be popping up that Ken and Julie who's going to be here with us tonight, have discovered. So Ken, you want to do the intros?
Yeah, I just want to tell her I look very smug in that thumbnail. Like I'm like, I told you so. Okay, I look very smug. So let's bring in our guest tonight. First of all, we'll welcome Erin Bush, who was with us in studio there to share her thoughts.
Hi.
Hello, Erin.
We have Julie DeMay, the brains behind the camera, who
Hi, everybody.
You're going to see a lot of her perspectives from her camera tonight. I think there is only one clip that goes back to the show. As mentioned during the investigation, we have all sorts of camera angles and equipment set up. We're not just doing this for a broadcast. We're conducting an actual investigation. So we have Julie to thank for that. We'll have her set up some of her perspectives on that.
Can we bring somebody on who maybe, almost like a college student is experimenting with drugs right now and can get their perspective?
Sure. Let me see who we have in. Perfect.
We got not her.
We got Satori Hawes.
I'm a college student, but I don't know.
Okay, well, see,
so combination. All right.
Right, and for the other half of that, heavily sedated from somewhere in his secret lair in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, we have Cody Desbian is joining us tonight.
Getting those hand trails going on and say, hey.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic.
Cody, for everybody in chat, tell them how you are so we can just do that. How we doing?
All right, I'm doing all right. I am starting to walk with a cane, but I look like the Walking Dead. So I'm not ready yet, but I'm getting there one day at a time, a little better each and every day. But Satori's helping me out, and my family's helping me out. So definitely have people taking care of me, that's for sure. So I'm doing good.
Well, that is good to hear.
Yeah.
And what's the recovery time?
Well,
about a half hour from now.
By 10 o'clock.
They definitely said probably about another month or so, I would think, at the rate this is going. My other hip is also bad, so I have to be careful. This was all caused from radiation from the treatment I had, and unfortunately did a number on all the joints. So, it's definitely, I have to be careful because you start favoring the other hip, and that one starts to hurt. So you have to go slow, and we'll get there though.
You favor it, and then your knee starts hurting.
Yeah.
It's like,
Exactly.
we can rebuild him, though. We can make him better. We can make him stronger.
That's it.
We can get you there. All right. So this is our ensemble cast. Maybe not. Bill Forte, our producer, might pop in from time to time with his reactions to some of the evidence revealed. But Mr. DaCosta is going to take the reins on this because he's got a whole list of different pieces of evidence to provide for us tonight. Again, this is in regards to the Alley Theater. And Ken, I don't know if you or Julie want to talk about the Alley Theater and how this all came about.
Well, I think what we'll do is kind of turn this over because there's two things I'd love to hear, George. Number one, Julie sort of put this together with a relationship she made with the owner, Lorna Brunel, who unfortunately could not join us tonight because she hasn't seen any of this yet. We'd love to get her reaction, but we'll get her all this information. And then I'd like to ask Cody and Satori, because I believe it was their first time in the theater, exactly what they thought of their own experience. So, Julie, how did we get there?
I think, well, this is our third visit, but we had some pretty cool visits the last two times we were there. And I thought it would be great to go back, and it'd be great to have Cody and Satori at this event, and reached out to Lorna, and she didn't hesitate. Yep, here you go. Here are the keys. Just lock up when you're done. Wow. So it's awesome. She's an awesome lady. Everything she does at her school, she's just awesome. And you couldn't ask for a better, local business owner. And she's just been wonderful with us.
Fantastic. And where are you broadcasting from, Julie?
I am home today.
Yay!
I'm at home today.
It must be nice. You've been on the road so much, and work related and investigation. So we thank you for taking the time and joining us tonight. Also, so Ken, take the reins on this. Where do you want to go with regards to what you guys have captured?
Sure. Without giving too much away, really quickly, Cody, Satori, what did you think of the theater? What's your first impressions? I am not staying out of trouble, and leave my wife out of this, Joe.
Well, the first investigation of the theater was definitely it was something. Cody and I connected with a couple spirits there. And some of them were very nice. Some of them had some attitude, but in the best way. And some of them had some attitude in some not very good ways, which we'll also go over. But it was a great time. It was good to learn. I think we learned a little bit more about ourselves and what we can do there.
Yeah. And Cody, I kind of misspoke. It was your second time there. All right, I'm sorry.
That's right. Yeah. But Ken, like you mentioned before. It seems like every time we go to some place that has a good history, somebody always is, a spirit always comes forward and acts as the spokesperson for the rest of the group. And we definitely had a great one here. Sometimes you go to locations and the spokesperson, the only person that's really willing to talk, isn't that talkative or has an attitude. But we got really lucky at this location, and Mrs. Carr definitely, is a great spokesperson for the rest of the spirits and the building there. So we made out really well.
Don't call her Mrs. Carr. It's Blanche. That's what she wanted us to call her. Blanche.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, guys, I'd love to go in deeper and deeper. We talked about this already, whether it's this show, off air, or another show, deeper and deeper into the potential of what it is that you guys are doing right now, and it has so much potential, but we're limited tonight, unfortunately. So you'll probably see me shaking my head a lot and going, man, I really want to dive into this, but the experiences are unprecedented. I had them during this investigation because we had a visitor come along, and again, it also showed the risk involved with doing what you guys are doing, or any type of paranormal investigating, really, that there are risks because there are good spirits and there are not so good spirits. So, Ken, sir, it's all you. Take it away.
All right, the first thing we want to show you is a couple of FLIR pictures. And I was just showing this to Cody and Satori. I have seen hundreds of these. We've taken a great deal of them. Julie sent these to me. And I want to let everybody have at this. What do you think this is? And we've taken FLIR pictures of the paranormal couple at other locations. And this was a little bit odd. Here's the first one. Now you can see just to the left of the heat signature that's on the right-hand side, you see the outline of Satori standing there, but yet her heat signature is somewhere behind her. And to the left, you can kind of make out Cody's sneaker. He's sitting on a chair, and his heat signature is also behind him in that same position. So this was a little bit unusual. We haven't seen anything. And you can actually see Cody's head under the blackboard there where it has the word "the." You can see his head there. He's gesturing back. And we thought that that was quite an unusual shot and in and of itself interesting. But then there was another FLIR shot of them. And apparently the same thing happens. It is not to their left, but it is kind of above them. And again, you can see the outlines of them on the stage. So we thought that was kind of interesting. It's not something, in looking at these things, I've seen before. So Sandy Stay used almost like an astral projection. And that thought had kind of crossed our minds, Sandy. But really quickly, what do you guys think?
I have a question first. Is in both of those, did somebody outline with some sort of tool the
No.
forms?
No,
Because I have never seen that on a FLIR at all.
no.
Those are
I've
stills.
never seen
Those
it.
are stills pictured. Stills that I took when I was in the audience there. And it's really, really weird. But I think going forward, I have some homework to do to say, okay, we're going to do some tests here. And we did a little bit of it on the stage when we weren't live. But I want to do like the before, during, and afters, maybe the exact same place, and to see if there's any differences. But I found it very odd. I thought the picture of Satori, the profile picture, almost looks like a artistic picture. I think it was really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But
That's the
it's
strange part
really,
behind it.
it's really weird. Again, I'm curious to see what that would have looked like without them in contact and before and after. But I'd be
Does the,
shocked if it would be the same.
do any of you on the panel know of FLIR cameras having that ability to do outlines of the individuals? Because I just thought it was the heat signature. It never would have the lining of the outline of that individual. I've never seen that before. Never.
Yeah, the only FLIR cameras I've worked with, I mean, this is Julie's FLIR, and it's one of those adapters that go into a phone or something like that. So this is actually my first time working with one of, or actually seeing the results of one of them. I've only worked with the handheld units and things like that. So this is definitely new to me. I don't know if there is a setting in there that can do that. But you would think everything should be lined up if there is, you know what I mean? So strange. I just don't understand that one. So I think Julie's right. We have to do some tests.
I think what we'd probably want to do is, rather than a head-on shot, take that angle again, where we're sort of not looking at you directly, but maybe at 45 degrees like we are right now, and take a shot of that and see if that makes any difference. We just thought it was, a really odd shot, because we've done FLIR experiments with them, and there really hasn't been any discernible difference in auras or colors or anything like that. But this one was a little bit different.
And there was, at least in the first one, there was no contact between the two.
No, there wasn't.
That's
No.
odd.
I don't, Satori had her hands, I think, in the pockets of her jacket or parka or whatever.
Yeah, it was right after a session,
Right
I
after,
think, because I remember Cody sitting down because he felt a little tired. So I know it was right after, I believe, one of our sessions.
Right after the first session, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Right,
interesting.
interesting.
Crazy.
Okay, so our first clip. Now, some of these are going to be maybe 40 seconds long. Some of them are going to be a little over a minute, but they'll go pretty quick. Some of them are 2 minutes. A couple of them are 3 minutes. This is why we wanted to get to this. And again, emphasizing that a lot of these are taken from camera angles you didn't see on the live show. This is actually the first one is an EVP. I try to do these in chronological order. The first setup was us down in the basement. We were talking about the whistling that was going on down there. So this is what we got on our recorders in rapid session. So this is a lot different than what you heard on the broadcast. I think we can hear what you're saying.
Hear whistle?
Something that people come down here like us do to make you mad?
You fellas with two?
Where's the furnace, Steve?
Okay. Okay.
All right, so give you an idea what's going on. Okay, so the reason that those things aren't exactly how we heard in putting this together for the show, I did the absolute best I could to try to filter out the furnace that was going, because that just overwhelmed everything. Okay, so just so you know, it wasn't feedback or anything like that. So when you tend to over filter, and you really did because it was loud, at one point in the next to last clip, I thought it was maybe something originating from the furnace itself, which is why I asked Steve at that point, where's the furnace? Let's go near it and see if it's something from there. But it was not. So continuing with the whistling, this is what you saw on the live feed, and this cracked us up. You got to tell me what it is. Maybe we can help.
They once mentioned the name James Western.
Yeah.
You're James Western, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Weston, sorry.
Who the heck was that?
No, there's not. Did you hear it? That was awesome.
I heard that all the way
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah, right.
Did you hear it again, right?
Unless you just whistled twice, we just heard that again. Yeah. So a little bit later on, when Cody Satori has some communication, that'll bear out the idea that, in fact, somebody was just kind of whistling along with us down there. So it was great. You know, if that's said, music is the universal language, fine. You know, whatever it takes.
Wow.
Well, to be able to hear that from where we are in front of our computer screens, to be able to hear it and be like, oh my God, but several times. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, very, very cool.
And that was right next to you because my cameras, I caught the video, that audio on my video in the room, and it's not nearly that clear. So that's the whole thing about triangulation, where they were right on top of that device.
Yeah, we when we went down there, now that was prior to the broadcast. We had gotten down there. You guys hadn't even come to us. We were having a little bit of camera difficulty. So all the first part of it, the EVPs, what we recorded, disembodied actually, it wasn't an EVP. We could hear this, and that was caught on our recorder. The next thing I want to go to is a lot of this now. I'm going to turn it to Cody and Satori. And it's a couple of minutes long. They reconnect with a spirit that had come to them before on our first trip. This is reconnecting with Blanche Carr.
Is there any updates you have?
Hello. Hopefully you remember us. Proximity sensors going off back there.
Can you come close to me?
Footsteps.
I'm right here, I'm waving. So, if you see me, I can hear noise, and can you make a stomp or a bang, maybe 3 times to let me know that you hear me right now and understand me?
Whoa, look at me. This is my neighbor.
Okay.
Who's going to walk in.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to talk to you. We're going to play a game, okay? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Would you like to tell us your first name? Okay. I'll go to the alphabet. When I get to the first letter of your name, you knock. I'll restart. When I get to the second letter, you knock, and I'll keep restarting until we spell it out. Do you understand? I'll take it slow. Okay. A, B, B, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, A, B, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, N, A, B, C, D, E, C. Blanche. Hello, Blanche. How are you? Good? Good.
Blanche, it's been a while since we've been here. Can you remind us of your last name? Just so we know which Blanche we're talking to.
Okay. A, B, C, C. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. 2 R's? Carr. That's right. Blanche Carr, right? Thank you so much.
It's great to speak with you again.
So crazy.
How have you been? You been doing good?
How you doing, Blanche? So you reconnect with Blanche there. I'll give you guys, Story, Cody. I'll give you guys a second to talk a little bit about that.
Well,
You first.
All right,
like
time's
I-
up.
like I said in the beginning, it seems like every location has a spokesperson, and she's definitely that for the Alley Theater. She definitely is the first person that has come through both times that we've been there, and definitely seems like she remembered us for sure, which is amazing. This isn't the first time this has happened where Spirit's able to remember us. So right there, you're learning that spirits are still making new memories and still making new friends that may not be on the same realm as them. But it's interesting that when we've done these investigations with Rise Up, and we've learned that spirits seem to see a light when we hold hands. Satori and I hold hands. They see this beacon kind of shoot up into the air, and you'll notice that as the night goes on, it seems like more and more people become more interested on what this is, and so it's always good to talk to Blanche whenever we go there, and I can't wait to go back.
I love Blanche. She's very sassy.
She
So
is.
she'll tell you how it is, whether you like it or not. She'll also tell you about all the information there is to know about the building, or if she overhears anything, or if she sees anybody, she'll definitely be the first to tell you. Definitely, she's one of the more fun spirits we've talked to. And I think just seeing video clips like that reminds us that most of our friends are spirits. So it's really funny because it's honestly, most of our friends are friends that we've met as they're already in that other realm, and Blanche is one of them.
Yeah, she seems to be a firecracker. Do you guys think it's coincidental that there are 3 locations we've gone to now? The Alley Theater with Blanche, the Payne House with Sarah Whipple Stone, the Conjuring House with Abigail Arnold, where it seems to be the woman of the house, so to speak, who's kind of like the receptionist for everybody. Because we've seen this before. Yeah, hang on right here. I'll go get them. Or, it's like she's there, do you have an appointment with Cody and Satori? I don't see your name on the list. It's kind of funny. You think there's coincidence in this, or is it just a matter of their personalities?
I don't know, because we've been to a couple locations where there have been more dominant spirits, but I don't know. Maybe it's because they really love that spot, and they maybe might have been better with managing things in life, and so that's what they wanted to do on the other side and kind of manage the home or the location.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's personality for sure. And like Satori said, we've run into locations. It seems to be more female than male, but there have been those locations where a male is the spokesperson. But I think the first person that we talk to, if they have a great attitude, they're kind of telling everybody else how this works, and
Right.
they're trying to help form the line and keep everybody organized. So we've had situations where everybody just starts talking at once, and it becomes a big mess because you get all this information and none of it makes sense. You think you're talking about one person and you're actually talking about 3. If you come across the first person you talk to has a good personality, then you make out really well.
It is very much attitude, and it reminds me of when we all went to that inn where there was the dominant female spirit who was, more recent passing that was associated. She worked there and she was very nice and she led us around. But then there was that gentleman spirit from the 1800s who was telling, like, he wouldn't talk. He would say, women don't talk to me. I want to talk to them. That mentality. So I don't know. Maybe it just depends on the attitude, like Cody said.
Yeah, but I want to get Erin's take on this because of her part in the metaphysical. Because one of the things that I stick to is that era and that time frame where women were the homemakers, and if in fact the reason why they hadn't crossed over yet is because to them this was their heaven. This is where they felt most comfortable. The unknown is probably just as the scariest thing for them to cross over. Some others do automatically, but again, during that time, at a height of Christianity, is it a possibility that those who didn't leave because they feared what they'd have, damnation or anything else they'd have to deal with on the other side if they sinned? And secondly, this is where they felt heaven was. What do you think, Erin?
I mean, I don't know so much if you're coming. I don't know. It's hard to say because I think you're not necessarily always running across spirits who haven't crossed over. But I still think the same applies, that if that's a place they loved, and that's the place they were most comfortable, it would make sense that they would come back to that location. And especially now, I think I've wondered too, with it, so many of these women being, kind of this receptionist. These are women that may not have had a chance to be a voice before either. So they're getting a chance to kind of take the reins. But I also wonder from an energetic standpoint if there's one spirit at each location that is stronger energetically, because I don't know that every spirit can muster up the energy required to make that contact all the time, But I don't know if it's that they're necessarily stuck, but I would assume if they were, that would definitely make sense, that they're scared of what's next. But they generally seem to be happy people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Ken, keep the wheel turning because, man, I'm biting my lip and pinching my leg not to get into the topic of this contact.
I think Erin in the legal field in another life know what it's like to herd cats, to try to get. Now, our next one will set this up real quick. When we first started there before the first sessions, I asked Cody to do me a favor and to try to connect with a man named James. And that's all the information I gave him. When you get up on stage, just ask for James. I had received some information for our researcher, Chris Blanchett, prior to going there, prior to leaving the house, about a man's name that we found out we didn't have before that was connected to the building. In fact, he was the first there on the property. I think it was like 1908. So I asked him to contact James, and that's all. So they went and did their thing, and once again, Blanche Carr comes through. So we'll play the clip, and we'll come back, talk about it on the other side.
Is there any updates you have for us? Anything you'd like to tell us about? Are there any people here we should know about? Yeah? Okay. How many words? I'll go fast. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, K. A, B, C, D, E. Ken?
Ken?
Our Ken? Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. H, I, J, K, K. A, B, C, D, E. Okay. A, B, C, D, E. Keeps. Ken Keeps. Next word A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, A. Talking. Okay. Next word A, about. Ken keeps talking about. Next word A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, L, M, N, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, Mr. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. W. A, B, C, D, E, E. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, W, E, S. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T.
West?
Is there more? How much more?
2 more?
Weston? Ken keeps talking about Mr. Weston. Can I ask Mr. Weston's first name? So I can ask him if he's talked about him? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, A, B, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, James. Mr. James Weston? Do you know if he's here? Not at the moment.
Okay. So that's kind of what do we got going on here? I got an echo someplace.
It was Satori. I just muted her.
Okay, so
Reboot.
I asked for James. It turned out to be James Weston, who was the name we received in 1908. He was there, and before he sold the building, he created a fund for homeless children and homeless people. So obviously a very philanthropical, very nice man who cared about others. And it was, in fact, James Weston that I was talking about. And this is the second time, if you saw the Payne House investigation, you saw Maria Dorgan upstairs talking about the woman there of the house, Sarah, looking out the window, greeting her guests. And then they were getting the same thing down below. And in no way, shape, or form did anybody know what someone else was talking about. So it's a nice test for this type of thing. So I told you guys later on about it. So But the thing that I'm having a little bit of a problem is the spirits inside my head now, because, and I actually wasn't talking about her, or about him. It was more a case that I was just thinking of the name, and this is something that keeps popping up, Cody. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's weird, and it really only happened with you, to be honest. And I can't think of another instance where it's been happening with another person. So when she said that you kept talking about him, maybe it's they're hearing your thoughts or something.
That's what my theory was.
To be honest, when you pulled me aside before we started the live and mentioned that, I hadn't even mentioned it. I didn't. His name never came out of my mouth. I just said, okay, I will.
Right.
And then I forgot about it. To be honest with you, we hadn't even I hadn't even said his name or anything yet. I totally had forgotten that we had that conversation, and then that happens, and so I was like, oh gee, as soon as that happened, I was like, and I think that's why Satori said our Ken, because we knew where this was going right away.
Right.
He is our Ken. He is our Ken. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the best guess is that I don't know if maybe you just have that kind of energy where your thoughts get projected a lot easier than the average person. But maybe they hear it as if they can hear us talking normally, and they just think that you're blabbing your mouth about a James Weston, when in reality, all you're doing is thinking it and you're projecting that to them.
I think very loudly, I guess. I'm not sure. That's like either. Well, Aaron, Aaron and I want to like Julie, when you were kind of moving around, were you just readjusting yourself, or was there noise or something that was going on there?
Well, I was trying to get the best angle as you're filming. And normally I don't have it bouncing all over the place. I was probably adjusting my camera in the back of the room.
Right.
Making sure, I think I ended up zooming in. That's why you see me going to the ceiling. So I'm multitasking while I'm doing this. And I just can't sit there and film. It's just not how it works. So I was bouncing around covering the other camera that was in the back of the theater.
Right. So we had two angles on that.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, what do you think about spirits in my head? Go.
I think Cody and Satori and your group are making these spirits comfortable enough to really show what they're able to do. And I think they're comfortable with doing that. I mean, I don't know that it shocks me so much that they're able to do that,
Not anymore.
But it's just not that often that you get to see it, right? And confirm it live on a YouTube show and be able to like play it back. But it seems to me like there's a level of comfort they have with y'all that they don't necessarily have with everyone. And so it's almost like my theory at the Conjuring house. Things are happening, investigators are talking about it, and then it's happening immediately again. So it's almost like, okay, we're going to help you validate, and here's what all we can do. But that, of course, is just me throwing stuff out there.
I find I'm like Homer Simpson. I go into a place and it's like, don't think about butts, don't think about butts, don't think about butts.
Oh God, I hope that comes up in an investigation. Ken keeps talking about butts.
No, you guys are going to protect me. I know they will. Cody, that beeping that you heard during that, tell them what that was, that, shrill kind of noise. That was actually a gadget you had set up on stage.
Yeah, that was my Christmas present. So Satori got me that for Christmas, and it's a flux. It's called a flux, and it's made by Ghost Stop, and basically what happens is it's this triangle device, but it has two lights, a red and green, and you can switch the colors. And basically, when you put the triangle down on the ground, you have to imagine a straight line going from either side of the triangle. And it's basically a proximity that measures distance. So when it beeps, that means something crossed that proximity line. And the more beeps you start to hear, that means it's getting closer and closer to the device. So basically, it's just a proximity sensor.
Right. So, and you guys basically are stationary for the most part on the stage. So when this thing triggers, it's a little bit of corroboration that something apparently with some mass and density is there.
Right.
Or
so
somebody giving off a static sort of charge.
So we had that proximity sensor in a position where Satori and I could have walked on that stage back and forth, and it wouldn't have gone off. It was positioned so somebody would have had to come from stage right and walk, towards us.
Come through
And,
the wall, honestly.
yeah. So, yeah, I should have. Looking back now, I should have put it on the other side where it went to like the backstage area, but
Right.
you wouldn't have been able to see it on the live stream, so that's why I put it back there.
And when Cody and Satori are doing their thing, and they love this, I mean, we've got stuff set up all over the place. The easiest thing in the world is just to sit back, but we continue in, using technology and combining sort of both things. And that's what makes all this work. The next thing we're going to do, we can get a couple of these in. George, you're going to set this up because the next thing we have is something that you actually brought in. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that all came to pass. The next clip is going to be a little bit longer, almost 4 minutes long, but it's worth every second of it. So why don't you go ahead and explain what this was all about?
Yeah, those who have been listening to Dead Air over the last 15 years or so know about a team member of when I was running a team called Port Orange Paranormal Society, and one of the team members' names was Amanda. Just fearless as an investigator. And unfortunately, quite some time ago, and I said 7-8 years ago, but I think it's closer to 10 now since we lost her. God, time flies. And this is kind of experiments that we try to do is to see whether or not spirits are able to travel to different locations. We did it with Rolling Hills Asylum some 7 years ago with Sharon Coyle, where she went up there and we caught some amazing Frank's Box and Spirit Box communication. So I just randomly had asked her, and people had asked last week, how do you ask? I just speak aloud. I call it spirit email. I say, hey, Amanda, if you're available, there's an alley theater up north, Cody and Satori and Ken DeCosta. They're all going to be there. Could you show up and communicate? And, well, you'll have to see the rest of what happened.
Okay. So at first, Amanda made her presence known through Blanche, and I want to explain this a little bit.
I want to preface too, Ken, that Cody and Satori were not told about the appearance of Amanda. I told you about it via phone to let you know that I was planning this, and that was the extent.
Yep, and never mentioned it to them. You'll see Blanche kind of helping. This is a spirit who's a little bit new to this whole thing, and Blanche decides that to show her the ropes, so to speak. So it's a long clip. The first contact was actually on stage, but we really didn't have that mic'd up. So we went right to one of the dance studios within the theater, and this is what happened there.
Is there anything for George? George might have sent you here.
Blanche, can you ask if there's anything for George?
You running back, Blanche? Did she have a message? How many words? I think she's talking to her.
Yeah, there's a lot of nodding going on. I want flux going on.
Is there a message? Okay, how many words? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, A, B, C, D, E, tell. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, him. Tell him. Next word. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Word I. Okay, next word. A, am. Next word. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything else? So.
Blanche, One more thing. Where is Amanda right now? Is she in this room?
No.
Is she in another room?
Does she want to be around us right now, or is she kind of intimidated? Does she want to be around us? Yeah. So which room? Can I point where she is? Down there. Can we walk down there?
You want to try walking?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to preface. I don't know if it's in the grouping of videos you've got there, but before the dialogue even began, one of the things that came up through, I don't know if it was Blanche or who it was who is Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
So
that was on the stage.
Yeah, and then that was that was the start of me just being amazed that I asked her to go up there and they were able to make contact with her.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay, which is why I always like to put recorders down between them, because you'll see later on in the basement. It's astonishing. But she did have a message there for someone who's near and dear to her, and this was that message.
Can you ask Amanda if she has a message?
Maybe for George. Okay, how many words? 5. First word: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, A, B, C, D, E. Tell.
Tell.
Next word: A, B, C, D, D. A, B, C, D, E.
That was folks.
Okay, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. Dustin?
Dustin?
Tell Dustin. Next word. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, H, I.
I?
Word I. Next word. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Love him. Tell Dustin I love him. Does that make sense?
It's her husband.
Okay. Well, that's her message.
So a message for her husband.
Incredible.
Goosebumps all over again.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I need to just step back and take my hands off this a little bit and just let everybody kind of chime in on that, because they didn't know George was looking for Amanda, and they certainly don't know. To be quite honest with you, maybe you told me in the past, George, and it was part of 1,000 conversations we've had. I did not know she, number one, had a husband, and number two, his name was Dustin. So that information was just not available.
The other part of it too is I thought it was funny as they were going through, but trying to spell Amanda's last name, because they couldn't figure out, is that all 3 words, A or 3 letters, AHL,
Right.
and yes, yeah, that's her last name. Oh, no wonder. Okay, now that we've got that, I mean, it was just. You guys speak on it, Julie, Aaron. You guys, because again, I'm going to continue to bite my lip and pinch my leg to not really dive too far tonight. We'll do this for another time, because what's happening with these two young, gifted investigators is mind-boggling and has so much more potential. And all depends upon generosity and the generosity of the spirits. But Aaron, Julie, go ahead, guys.
I just want to say real quick, shout out to you, Julie, for keeping them in shot head to toe, the equipment on the ground. And I know that, I'm not going to say, oh, you were trained this way, because, you've got your own way of shooting things, and I don't have to say a word to you. You know exactly what to have in shot to present it. So I just wanted to say, how much all of us, we appreciate the camera work that you do. So go ahead, guys.
Thanks. One observation I had in Cody and Satori, we were not live. I don't believe when there was the bang on the stage. And I'm wondering, was that possibly when Amanda arrived and she didn't know how to communicate? So she made her physical presence known and then Blanche started speaking with her.
It's definitely possible. I've never had. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to listen now to every time somebody gets sent to us or every time somebody enters to see maybe if there was some way that they're trying to be known, or maybe there's some sound when they first enter. Who knows?
Yeah, because you remember we had the bang near on the side of the stage, near the
Yeah.
green room.
Yeah.
And right after that, that's when everything started coming through and Blanche was saying somebody else was here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting. I mean, that's the first time that anyone's like really been sent to us that I can think of, Satora. I don't think that's ever happened before. So maybe that's something we have to look out for and kind of experiment with. But weird.
And it's not the first time. I mean, we started small, and we used to go to Kerr City in the Ocala National Forest. We would ask spirits in one room, "Hey, can you go into the other room and touch the investigator on the arm?" And then all of a sudden, you'd hear some sort of a disturbance in the other room. What's going on? I just feel something touching my arm. Things like that just kind of advance it more and more and more. But now we're talking great distances at the speed of a thought. Now, mind you, I asked Amanda hours earlier, could you make this trip? But it doesn't mean she got up there at that time. It means that when she had a moment, or if there can be multiple locations at the same time, part of her presence was right there where you guys were at. I mean, these are the questions we're still asking.
Right.
I think you can tie a lot of that into, you start getting into the quantum side of things.
Yes.
I know about that much about quantum entanglement and quantum physics, just enough to be able to explain why distance Reiki works. But I think with spirits, it's the same. I mean, if they're not bound by space or time, because of course time's a linear construct on this planet only, it kind of could make sense that if you say, all right, at 4:00, hey, Amanda, our friends are going to be at this theater. She could have sat back, had dinner, did whatever she's doing over there, and then just popped up there in like a half a second. Is my thought. Because I do think
in that same vein, I wonder as to whether or not, in a situation where Cody and Satori are in a theater, but let's say that theater, the seats are occupied, they're filled with people, and they say to Amanda, or they say to Blanche, or they say to any other spirit out there, I want you to put your hand on the left arm of everybody in the audience, if that's, from a quantum perspective, if that's possible, if it could all be done.
I think so.
There's a lot of things that we still have to, I'm pinching myself. Never mind.
George, we got to go have lunch. It's a fascinating thing that to have somebody go that far, make that kind of contact with those kinds of details. I mean, this is limitless what you're able to do. And I still I've seen this enough times now in person and on everything I can possibly get my hands on where you guys are doing this. It's still never, I told you in Rhode Island, this will never get old. I'll be 102 and my brain will still explode every time this happens.
We're going to save, the next one's about 4 minutes long, but it's extremely telling. I think the best way to go into break here is a question for Cody, Satori, and everybody. When we hear what these drum rolls on the floor, you made an assumption, and I have the same thought, that on the other side, there's a spirit communication going on, not with us, but with somebody on the other side. Because when you talked about that, and you immediately said it, which is why I captioned it, is this spirit communication with another spirit, that they're just kind of going back and forth, and maybe there's an explanation going on? Because if that's the case, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be the first to jump in on this, because my thought is the possibility that that's happening, but why is it not happening more often? The other thing we think about. People go investigate, and sometimes you just hear this knock sound in a room or in another room from where you're at. And I wonder as to whether or not that is a sound barrier sound of breaking through to this side of the plane. That it's not necessarily that they're knocking on the floor or they're knocking on the wall.
So we have a couple different reasons why it'll happen. For one, we've taught spirits that we've communicated with that if we go too fast past a letter, please stomp your feet or hit something as much as possible to let us know so I don't go through the whole dang alphabet before I have to restart again, which they're good about. Another one is we hear it move around our feet sometimes, almost like they're just walking around and checking out the situation. We're not sure because some spirits have said they've seen the light move. Some spirits have said that they're just trying to make sure they're getting the best connection to get as close as possible. So it could be them shuffling within the light to try to talk to us a little bit better. We've also had spirits, and they've said they were talking to each other. We've heard knocking noises, and we're like, hey, what's up? And they're like, we're talking to so-and-so. Hold on. So it could be, again, that communication also, and it's hitting that barrier, or it's hitting something that's making that noise.
The other thing that I've seen at Payne House, when you asked Sarah Whipple if she could show herself or we could take her picture, because they were doing photography at that time, Civil War era, that she said, yeah, I'll show myself, you can take my picture. And there was just a rapid series of thumps for about 15 seconds, which just makes me think, is she there? Is she really like she's trying to manifest to show herself? Because as soon as she said, yes, I'll be okay, all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And this went on for 20 seconds until you guys finally said, okay, thank you. And then it ended. I
had a fleer too. I was hoping with the thumping, I'm like, she's going to come through. And even with the fleer, I mean, again, we're just theories. I didn't see her.
That's remarkable.
It's still, and that may be something that in the future, in the conversations you have with them, what is it that we're actually hearing? And maybe they can give a definitive answer on somewhere down the road. I'm going to pinch my leg and bite my lip. All right, guys, we're going to go to break. When we come back on the other side, Ken DaCosta and Julie DeMay have more of the evidence that they have put together from the Alley Theater we're going to present to you. And we get to present to you on the other side of the break our very brand new sponsor. Stay with us. You're watching Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you would like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small esoteric getaways are limited and do fill fast. So, go to mysteriousAdventuretours.com and book your trip soon.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Place your bid. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Rolex watches to purchase. We have a sponsor.
Yes, we do.
By the way, I don't know what the hell Satori was doing during the break. She looked like she was doing some sort of a eBay sale. She was holding something up to the camera, and I'm like, what the hell is she doing over there?
No, I was trying to make sure I could see in the light of. I have a essential oil because I think I'm getting a cold. So I'm trying to breathe. So I'm trying to make sure that it's mixed as.
Oh, okay.
Have you rubbed it on Cody's hip yet? That might also help.
No.
It's probably squeaking right now, that fake hip. All right.
I'm just trying to clear up the sinuses, So.
Right.
So, Ken, we have a sponsor now. Why don't you tell everybody about this? Yeah.
We do. And maybe dehydration.
Some background music, of course, copyright free. It'd be something really good to do something like that. So we'll look into it, to say the least. In any event, welcome back to the show, guys. We are into our second hour of the evidence reveal from the Alley Theater that we did 2 weeks back. And we are back with, of course, Julie DeMay, Cody and Satori, and Aaron Bush. And we really thank you guys for all of your support and watching us. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet to Dead Air on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel, please do so. Also, the thumbs up and a reminder bell are critical. We really appreciate that. But without any further ado, Ken, I know we still have a lot to cover. Please go ahead and continue.
Yeah, we are going to start getting into a little bit of a darker element here with the investigation. I know we've temporarily lost Tori, and we will get her back shortly. And she is. Okay, there she is. I'm going to let Cody, Satori, and Julie kind of set this up with why we were in the basement, why it was so important for us to return there, what had happened to us previously, and why this was the focus of our attention for the last, say, 40 minutes of this particular broadcast. We lost Satori again, but she'll be back.
The first time we were at the theater, Cody and Satori weren't there, and we had there were stories that maybe there was a grumpy old guy in the basement, and again, we had some cameras set up, and I was just reviewing my video that time. It's me and Ken walking out of the basement, and I can't remember what the man said. It's like, get out of here or something. In a very stern, he had a very low-pitched voice, and that sort of supported the stories that we had been told. So we were going in with that theory, and then the first time they came in, that's when the guy really came through and expressed an incredible interest in Satori.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? But it got ramped up a little bit, guys, on your first trip there down in the basement, where we saw something that is quite unusual. Object manipulation done out of more of an aggressive posture. So before we even go there, you guys go there. because you were the last ones down there. We had pretty much left except for Steve, and all of a sudden there was a noise, and we all went down. So set that up for us a little bit.
Yeah, Cody, you want to start?
Well, yeah, it was Story and I think Steve Mills, and I think Julie had just hit the top of the stairs, and we had heard this noise that sounded like something either was thrown or fell, and we didn't want to jump to conclusions right away. Maybe something, just normally fell.
Really loudly.
Really loudly. But when stuff like that's happened, that's the last thing you want to do is jump the gun and say something was thrown at us or something like that. And we turned around really fast, and it was kind of like a game of telephone. Steve ended up telling somebody upstairs, and I think Julie heard our reactions and started turning around to come back down. But it ended up being a roll of a masking tape that was on the floor that definitely was not there. We were able to review video to see that it wasn't there beforehand, and it was nowhere near the spot that it landed. So it definitely, got there somehow, and we heard the end result of it getting there.
I remember before we walked up, it was Cody and I said something, and I was like, well, sorry. I just said something, like, sorry to burst your bubble, because, it was like inappropriate conversation. And so I just said, and so as we're going up, I'm with Cody, I'm behind Cody, and Cody doesn't want to jump the gun, but as soon as we heard it, it went boom, boom, because it hit something else. And the first thing I said is, something just got thrown. Something was just thrown at me. But it was so funny. But now looking back on it, I'm like, wow, that must have taken a lot of energy just to throw something, if it was even thrown. But it was propelled from its spot. Even a masking tape, or some roll of tape. It took a lot of energy to do that.
But we don't know where it was thrown from.
No, but we did find it by the stairs. It was like these couple of stairs on the ground.
Yeah, there was a wooden step stool.
Yeah.
So we know where the direction it came from, but we didn't know where the original location was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we did recreate the sound. After we figured out that it was the masking tape, we did recreate the sound of it hitting that step stool thing and then hitting the floor afterwards. So whatever it was dropped from, definitely an angle from above.
Sure.
Yeah, no explanation for that. That's for sure.
I know that during the broadcast, Aaron had, kind of posited what type of energy that it would take for something to be moved. I mean, we've heard stories about tables being flipped over and everything like that, but nonetheless, to affect the physical environment doesn't happen every day.
Mm-mm. No. If you've ever seen the TV show Ghosts, each ghost has a specific ghost power, and the first episode of the BBC version, which is my favorite, the ghost that's able to manipulate the environment, you see him like exerting all this effort, grunting, like basically yelling, trying to move this, coffee cup like an eighth of an inch, so it takes it's got to take just a tremendous amount of energy to chuck a roll of masking tape at someone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Crazy.
While we were there, we did meet someone else, though. Very nice gentleman. And his name was Larry. He let us know, and he was down there. And this is the what you saw in the broadcast. And if you watched it, it was very, very difficult to hear. But again, we had a microphone down at their feet. So this is going to be it was a real treat for me to be able to hear it. So you'll hear it for the first time, what was actually going on. But, like the old TV show, Meet Larry.
I hear somebody.
Okay, we got somebody. We have your name?
1 for yes, 2 for no. This is nice for person. A, B, C. Can you come closer? Because I can't feel it. You're going to have to tell me because I can't feel it.
Yeah, I don't
hear
hear
it.
anything.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L,
L.
A, B,
A.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R,
Larry?
Larry? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Larry. Have we talked to you before?
No.
No. No proximity sensors going off.
Can we have your last name, Larry? Yeah? All right.
You want to do it?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, K. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, R. A, B, A? All right, so it's KRA so far.
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, U.
KRAU.
How many more? All right, I think that was two or three. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, S. A, B, C, D, E, E.
Larry Krause.
That makes sense?
Do we have all of it, Larry? Larry Krause?
Yeah.
Larry, can you do us a favor? I know it's hard. We've got a little bit of noise down here. But if you can really give us a sound a little bit louder. If you can't, we understand. I figured I'd ask.
Do something.
That's better.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
So
there you go.
Larry.
Okay. I gotta ask. Will there be a moment, Cody and Satori and Ken and Julie, you guys are out there usually together. Will there be a point in time, and I know you talked about picture taking, that you may say to them, sometimes this methodology, while it works, it's hard to hear. Is there another way we can do that? We'll put an old style bell. Can you hit the bell? Things like that. Are those things on the horizon that you've thought about, talked about, considered, or is just this is what we're working with? Let's not break what's not broken.
As somebody who sets these things up, from my perspective, we do it in smaller bites. This is only my opinion. If we were to return to any of these places, after we have set up a relationship with whoever might be there, like Blanche Carr may be willing to do that. Sarah Whipple may be willing to do that. We've done some things with that. We talked about the Mill and Warren where we had somebody
pressed on a piece of paper after we asked them, for the first meeting. But we walk a fine line, and I'm not going to speak for anybody else, between asking for these things and asking for a performance, because we're very, we're mindful of that. We're not here to make you, move this, move that, do that. Yeah, no, and I'm not asking that. I'm just asking for other variations.
I'm just giving you an answer.
Yeah.
So a little bit at a time.
Cody.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying, and Satori and I have definitely thought the same thing. If you can do this, can you do something else? Is there another way you can give these letter results to us? And we've tried, but it hasn't worked the same way. And listening to the alphabet over and over and over again definitely can be something that takes a while, and especially when you're trying to show it on things like this in national television when we go on Ghost Hunters or something like that. You'll notice that they cut it down a lot because sometimes the letters are at the end of the alphabet, and we've tried other methods to try to make this go a little faster, and it just hasn't worked. We have no idea what these rapping sounds are, like you mentioned, George, where they're coming from, if they're really knocking on the floor. Sometimes it sounds like they're coming from the ceiling. Sometimes it sounds like they're coming from the walls. Whatever it is, it's a reaction of us holding hands. And that's the reaction that's happening. So when you try to direct that to, instead of making that noise, ring that bell over there, we've been asking that for years, as just investigators, go try ringing that bell over there, or go try doing this over there. And for some reason, that energy, when it interacts with our realm, isn't working that way for some reason.
That's my thought again, then, Cody, and to Ken also. We had these discussions. Is if it is a simple poke through the veil, and that popping sound is almost like breaking the sound barrier coming through. Well, that's not as difficult as reaching through and hitting that bell. So that may be the level of what they can do. So
it
there
might
are
come
limitations.
down. It might come down to how much energy, the form of energy could be different. I think we've pointed to letters before, and that has worked, but sometimes it gets confusing if I'm pointing a little too fast to the letters. We've tried with lights. We've tried different colored lights for different letters and things like that, but we found some spirits can't see the color of light. So it kind of gets confusing for them in that way. So it's interesting. We're learning more things in an attempt to try to find easier methods.
The only time that it's worked and is when we've asked, once we built that relationship that Ken was talking about, we've asked, hey, since you've been on that realm, have you ever moved anything? And if so, what is it that you have moved? And in that case, at the mill, they said, yeah, I've moved a newspaper before. So right away, we tried finding the closest thing to a newspaper as we could. And that's why that paper moved, because that's what he was able to move. I think there's different strength levels, and they know their own strength level.
I agree.
So I think once you get a spirit that's willing to do that, one, and knows their potential, then you can do that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sure. I think the key too, though, is the two of you are conduit for this energy. Like, if you take it away from your, because like I've said, I see almost like two sides of a triangle, and it's running through you guys to get the information out. So it's like the physical touch, the connection that you two have, it seems like that's where the power is pulling from. So it's like, I think it would be harder trying to do things that aren't I guess if you both held a bell like on a string between you, maybe, or something like that, but there's something about it energetically that is the two of you. And if it's outside of your physical contact, then I think it gets harder. So it's energetically, the conduit is you.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it again, visualizing what Cody had said earlier, that there's this beam of light. Well, that beam of light may be, 10 billion little strings of a guitar, and that thump sound is the only way that they can. Right. I mean, there's different variables how we can imagine this, but nobody would have ever imagined this kind of and this level of communication that they are performing right now. It's incredible.
No, for sure.
I'm sorry, Ken. I'll let me turn it back over to you to keep going with the evidence.
No, I mean, we've got time, and these were a little bit shorter, save for one, but this is interesting because, well, I'll let it speak for itself.
The guy that we talked to last time we were here? Yeah?
Did you see it? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Is that where he likes to hang out? Back there?
Yeah.
Larry, the last time, do you remember the last time that we were here? Did we look familiar to you, Larry? If we don't, that's fine.
I heard two.
Yeah, I heard two.
Do we look familiar? I thought I heard three.
Larry, this other gentleman, do you know if he is upset when we come down here?
E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T
T
A B C A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P
P
Tape. You remember the tape?
Yes.
Oh,
Tape.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Just
He
imagine
knew.
Larry and you're just watching that tape go flying across the room. You're like, what is going on?
Julie,
He's like,
can
well, that
tell-
escalated quickly.
Julie can tell you from our perspective now, and because we're all investigators here, but when something like that happens and we tell you a story and the tape fell, and then suddenly you get confirmation that whoever this guy was, he was kind of working in the background, and he remembered the damn tape. I mean, that just
Ken, I gotta
it makes
ask,
you feel great,
I gotta ask you, Ken, and Cody in the private chat brought it up too. Probably 8 seconds in, you hear the whistling again. Is Larry the one that we thought was whistling earlier on too? Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you want to play the first 8 seconds, you'll hear the whistling right at the beginning again.
Okay, right at the beginning.
The guy that we talked to last time we were here? Yeah?
Did you see it? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Is that where he likes to hang out? Back there?
Right at the
Right
beginning, you did hear
Right
that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of these reflect it, but we did ask him that question. If
Yeah.
you were the guy, did you like Cody? Do you like to whistle? Yes. So from that point on, we try to establish if Larry is aware of this guy down here. And Larry, this is hysterical. Larry makes no bones about what he feels about this guy.
Larry, was the tape thrown at somebody? Was it done in anger?
It was.
Larry, if you can see me, I want to point around the room. Can you tell me who they were angry at? You can tap and stop me.
We were the ones.
So not Steve?
Yeah.
Because you guys defended me after that happened.
Okay. Me?
Yeah.
You defended me too.
Okay, so he's upset. But why? What did we? I don't know.
Not mad at Mark.
Mark's like, whatever.
I'm the good one.
I don't want you to speak for him, Larry, but is there any idea why he was upset? If you don't, it's fine. Why was he upset?
Thinking. How many words?
One.
A,
A.
B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S.
S.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S.
S.
Is he about to spell what I think he's going to spell? Larry, let's just get down to it. Is this guy just an ass? Is he just an ass, Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Larry. He was a
Larry's
real.
awesome.
Larry's blunt. Larry's definitely blunt. He's not mincing any words whatsoever. So, and again, who is it that always said that, oh, I think Aaron, you said that if you're an ass in life.
When you're my granddad used to say, when you're an asshole 24 hours a day. When you're a dead asshole.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate, I guess.
We got one in the basement of the Alley Theater, that's for sure.
Yep.
And Ken, you kind of pulled the reins back when at one point in time, Aaron and I were just kind of egging on, and I think it was Mark that was going back there with the camera, and the areas that both she and I were feeling this dread, feeling this tightness in our chest, feeling this, and you brought up in a very important point about the location. Why don't you explain that to everybody again?
Yeah, I mean, real quickly, we were escalating to, well, I don't think we were escalating, but we were finding out information, and eventually you'll get to the point where they talk to the nasty guy again. And, we were getting to the point that we had to consider the location a little bit. Right. And this is a place that runs a program for children where they work with kids who want to perform, sing and dance and act and things like that. And some of the kids are very young. So we, as everybody knows, you never want to leave something behind. I mean, we're going to get in our cars and go home, but, we don't want to put anybody, I don't think anybody is at risk, but, if this guy can throw some tape at somebody, we just didn't want to take any chance that this could go a little bit further. We said our piece, and, I think Tori did a pretty good job of reaching out to him, just saying, we don't mean any harm here. Like, what is the problem that you have with us? We'll work it out. He wasn't interested because, as Larry said, he's just an asshole. But, it was just time at some point during investigations, and we all recognized it right away that, it's best to leave this environment, the way it is right now, and, just be on their way. There'll be another day.
Now, would you feel an obligation to present this information to the manager or the owner of the theater? Just in that circumstance, and we're not talking about throwing tape here, but we're talking about, and that's the one thing Aaron and I were mentioning and we're concerned about was, Satori, if you changed it around and said, yeah, we're going to put her back there, we're going to put a hood over her head, we're going to let her sit alone in the dark in the chair, that the potential for a spiritual attack, for attachment, anything of that sort, that still could be a potential for the children that go to visit there. But if the owner is cognizant of that, not to warn them because you don't want to put fear with them, but right. If a child was behaving abnormally, that this could be a partial explanation. And B, and unfortunately we have to face this, is that we're airing this on YouTube. There are going to be people, maybe not out of our regular viewing group, but somebody who along the way is going to see this, that's an influencer or a YouTuber, and go, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to go in the back corner over there and I'm going to put one of my female investigators back there. How do you approach this with the business owner?
Yeah, I'm going to turn to Julie on this because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when we first talked to Lorna, there was something about the basement already with the people who volunteer or work there. I may be wrong, Julie. Was that the case? That
yeah,
I think more of a feeling.
I think she had, when we had asked when we first gone there, what kind of stories, and she said people had either had bad experiences or bad feelings in the basement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she was the one who brought up it was a man, a military man, and that's why we spent some time down there the first time, and he came through when we were leaving. So that was provided to us. So it was sort of known.
Yeah.
George, I don't know to who, but
George makes a very good point because I would be lying if I say that wasn't a consideration of mine too. Because I know that there are people in there. Well, if it was me, why are you running away? Why are you leaving? Go challenge it, just go and be a badass. And yeah, that's not the way this works. In the real world, it's not the way it works.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be the Conjuring House over again.
Right. So the next one is I may skip this one because we're just talking to Larry again, and basically what this is where is he? And he had already mentioned he's in that corner of the basement where the wash tub was, and we turned the cameras there, so it's kind of repetitive. He's back there. So let's move right on to the nasty guy returns. So about 3 minutes of confronting this guy and giving an example of the kind of tenor and tone, what was going on down there.
Here now with you, and can he duplicate that?
Larry, I'm going to do something a little stupid, okay? But I'm going to ask you.
Let me get a helmet.
I'm going to ask you to stay around, okay? All right. If anybody down here remembers me, they told me they wanted me to go to the back of the room with them. I'm down here and I want to talk to you again. I think we kind of ended things off a little on the wrong foot, you know?
Barometric pressure is dropping, by the way, on that device.
Yeah.
So if you could come back over here, I'd like to talk to you again. Miss talking to you.
It's coming.
Yeah. All right,
It's
here we
coming.
go. Yeah. Knocking.
Sir, do you remember me?
Cover everything.
A, B,
Everything. Camera. Everything.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q.
Oh. Alone.
You wanted me alone over there? Yeah.
What? Word?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N.
N.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Now. You want me to go alone over there right now? I don't know if anything's gonna happen.
Can we stay down here?
Ooh.
What was that? They want us all going. I don't know.
And me stay down here by myself?
That's not happening.
I don't know.
That's not happening. Nope.
Well, what? Why? Why can't they just be over here? Well, can you tell me anything else? It's been a while since we all last talked. No. It's either go over there or it's done.
So you fill the tape again if you know?
Well, if I say no, does that make you upset? You can be honest. I think everybody here is voting no.
Hello?
I think he's mad.
No answer.
Doesn't matter. We're not going to turn one of us out. It's just how it is.
I don't know why all of us can't say it. It makes no sense.
And I'm going to ask this, Ken, and I'm sorry because you guys all did the evidence review already, but I want you to play just after you said cover everything and you're moving your hands around. If you look past Cody and Satori and to the left, you'll see this foundation post. It's just a metal pole. Back behind you, there's two shirts. Look between the two shirts hanging in the back. Right after Ken says cover everything. See if my eyes are just not playing tricks on me. Go ahead, Ken.
I will, because we don't have that capability in the studio, I'll have to play the whole clip again, just so you know.
You can click. Once it goes past that, just click on the same video again. It'll stop.
Yeah, but we have to play the whole thing to get there. Right? Okay.
Now with you, and can he duplicate that?
Larry, I'm going to do something a little stupid. Okay?
Hey,
But I'm going to ask you to
Let me get a helmet.
I'm going to ask you to stay around, okay? All right. If anybody down here remembers me, they told me they wanted me to go to the back of the room with them. I'm down here and I want to talk to you again. I think we kind of ended things off a little on the wrong foot, you know?
Barometric pressure is dropping, by the way, on that device.
Yeah.
So if you could come back over here, I'd like to talk to you again. Miss talking to you.
It's coming.
Yeah. All right,
It's
here we
coming.
go. Yeah. Knocking.
Sir, do you remember me?
Cover everything.
A, B,
Everything. Camera. Everything.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
Didn't see it this time, so my eyes have been tricking with me. But people in the chat are just blown away, And I think this There's a consensus right there from Joseph. It's a good thing you didn't go over there. What did you think was going to happen, Satori?
Honestly, I don't know because I feel very protected with my, myself. I'm very grounded. I'm very cautious because doing this, you have to be prepared for anything. So I feel like I would have been okay, my energy wise. But who's to say another tape or something even heavier than that wouldn't have gone flying, or something that I would have seen something that would have been a little terrifying to me, or I wasn't prepared for. Something would have happened that would have been a safety concern. But I just like how my quote was, "I'm about to do something stupid," and I'm happy that you caught that because it was me acknowledging that I was about to do something stupid. So, and I like how Larry and everybody agreed with it. But
yeah, in the times that we've been together doing this for a little over a year now, this is probably, I can't speak for them, but this is probably the first time that we have run into somebody aggressive because for the most part people want to give messages to their family or just let them know they're okay in here, and these are great. And then we have conversations with people who lived a long time ago, and we learn about each other and exchange questions. So this was kind of a different thing. This is the first time that we had to look at this. And what I meant by cover everything was I just wanted to make sure that all our heads were on a swivel and the cameras were in place, the recorders were in place, but just take a look around. They're going to do their thing. It's on camera. We all don't have to focus on the same thing, but just look at things moving, those kind of things, and just kind of, keep the perimeter around them because, at that point, you don't know exactly where it's going to go.
I'm not a big risk taker. Also, when it comes to this stuff, I want to make sure that we're safe and that what we're doing is safe. And I don't want anybody to ever think that we're just going to, do something wild for entertainment purposes, because it's actually a real, we have to be very careful doing this kind of communication. If we feel off, we don't do it. Right. That's how cracked down on it we are. So I think we kind of felt a little off. So that was the sign that we probably shouldn't go further, just in case. So
even though you thought at one point I was trying to give you up.
Oh, Ken, you literally sat there and went, "Okay, what happens if we do put her over there and leave?"
It was
you were trying to negotiate.
It was a rhetorical question.
Well, and I kept getting I saw that energy a little bit later when you guys were putzing around towards the end of the night. I could kind of see what that energy looked like. But when this was going on, I kept getting the word attach over and over. And normally if I get something 5 or 6 times, there's usually something to it. But it was that seemed to be his goal. He was trying to attach to you, it seemed like to me. And I think I was pretty visible on the video. I get pretty visceral reactions, and it was oh no. Yeah, don't like that one.
Nasty. It was a nasty energy, a nasty situation. So
yeah.
There was wasn't there also, Ken, and it's not alleged, but I know a little bit of discussion on there that this particular thing may not have been human spirit.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have some clips where we kind of broach that subject a little bit with Larry, because we didn't want to put too much on poor Larry because he seemed like such a nice guy. But we wanted to get an idea of what it was that he was experiencing being down there, knowing the guy's an asshole and seeing him and being aware of him, how much information, because this guy wasn't going to give up anything about himself. I mean, they must have asked him his name, multiple times. They did the first time, is anybody here? But it just seems like I mentioned it a little bit without using the C word, but I said, "You're not being a gentleman." I was just trying to be nice because at one point I just wanted to use the word coward. Yeah, being a coward. You want the girl down here. You want the men to leave. But I just didn't want to take that posture at that point because that's something for, another time in a different situation, because I thought he was a jerk, but I didn't think we were in danger or anything like that. So yeah.
Let's continue on, Ken, with what we have for evidence, because we do have right now 4 questions from chat that I want to get to.
Okay, sure. I want to play a 10-second clip real quick, and Julie reminded me of this. I don't know what you're going to make out on this, but I marked the audio on this when we, Steve, Mark, and myself were in the basement the earlier time with the whistling, because we did just get a response. I can't tell you what this says, but it's emblematic of the idea that somebody is acknowledging us. So here you go. Yeah. So again, it's a little filtered because of the furnace. I'll play it one more time. I'm not even going to venture a guess, but this was in my headset. Yeah. Yeah. So immediately, it could have been Larry saying, hi, how you doing? It could not have been. The way it sounds is very aggressive, but there was an attempt at communication long before this. Now, this may be the part where I offer up Tori. I don't know, but let's take a look at this.
You're ignoring me again.
All right. Look, if she's down here alone, do you mean to do her any harm?
Is he about to offer me up?
Come on, out with it.
Not into science. How are you always going to be truthful?
I don't care what the answer is.
Would you hurt me if I was down here? Could be just a yes or no.
No, there was like 8 times.
Yeah, there was like a couple words.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Wait a minute.
A, B, C, D, E.
D.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O.
O.
Do. Next word. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
H.
A, B, C, D, E.
E.
Does he?
No.
No.
No, it was do.
Her.
Her. More.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
G.
Good. No. We're ending that there.
It's a rated G show. Just saying.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. But
think of the time frame for that kind of do her good. I'm thinking 1930s, 1920s, maybe.
Terminology to me is more contemporary.
Do her good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, but it was at that point
Disturbing.
that my head started to. Yeah, I think it's about time here because we're not going to go there.
Yeah. And again, that has multiple meanings to it, and including spiritually. Yeah. So, good to take those precautions without question.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What do we got next?
The next clip is basically we tell this guy that he's probably not in a good place right now with messing with Satori.
He's ignoring us. Yeah.
are you ignoring me? You want me to hang out with you over there, but you won't talk to me. I just want to say hi. A, B, C, D. Alone.
Do you know her?
She go there alone. What is that?
This is the worst.
Who her father is?
This is the worst person to get attached to. I promise you that. This is the wrong move.
Cody attached himself to me and he can't get out.
Aaron, now
Yes,
that we're listening back again, I'm getting 5'7", prior incarceration, bald head, or at least there's still hair
Barrel
on the
chest.
sides.
Barrel chest.
Yeah.
Not very. Yeah. Stocky.
Yeah.
And God, is he mad?
And wears like a handkerchief out of his back pocket.
I could see,
Like-
You're getting
like
a better picture of him than I am, for sure.
Yeah.
All I can really see is the like puffed out chest tattoos. I can see on his chest, his arms.
Right arm. Yeah, I mean, I wonder again, and I worry again that the people who go there, that you're giving them the information, Ken. You said that, and who knows whether or not that the caretaker of the place is watching the show and gets some idea of concern or caution with regards to what's happening down there. Maybe even, would Rise of Paranormal recommend someone coming in and maybe trying to purge this negativity?
That would be something that, after presenting everything that we have to the owner, if she would make that request, we could take the steps in that direction. We'd be very fussy about who we might have come in to do that, because a lot of times, I've said this before on the show, who are we to be the arbiters to push someone out or cross someone over or to get rid of them?
Sure.
If they're innocuous, if they're basically harmless,
they're benevolent, but
right. And if it is something different, then we have to be very careful, because it's got to take, or they have to be willing to go through the process and not take the chance that you're just making something worse, making something mad, because we've heard those stories.
Yeah.
I think he'd come back anyway, honestly. I mean, I think that would be exactly what would happen. You would piss him off, he'd leave for a minute, he'd come back, and now you got a bigger problem than you had before. So you kind of have to, and it seems like, beautiful young women is more his forte. Maybe, hopefully not little, kids, but that's a hard line to figure out with the owners patting into that.
I think we have as a minor, I don't know what the word is. There's another clip that I found. I'm not sure if Ken's going to play it, but in the back corner, one of our cameras was there. Steve had left it, and Steve picks it up, and he's walking behind the furnace. Luckily, it's not on. And I think he finally gave up, because on the audio on here, it says, "Let me have a picture." So I can't have her. Can you just give me a picture?
Yeah.
And it's a man whispering, and it's not Steve.
Yeah. I will have to go back over it and make sure that that doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
Okay. Real quickly, I got two quick clips, and then maybe we can get to this. Larry eventually comes back. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, as far as can Larry see this guy?
Is there anything else you want to ask?
Larry, one last. Can you see him right now? Whoever this guy is, can you see him?
No.
Interesting.
That's weird.
But last time we talked to him, he said he served in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't know why, but I had a feeling he was going to say no.
Really?
This is very, very random, guys. But does Larry happen to know the nickname that he has? Is it Mr. Nasty? That's no joke.
Did you hear that, Larry? Yeah, you heard that? Can you give an answer? Once for yes, two for no, and if you don't know, do 3 knocks.
3.
Don't know.
Okay. Larry, does he look? If you can see him, does he look like us?
1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know.
Does he look like a normal man, Larry?
No.
Is he human?
Is he human?
Do you think
I'm
that
going to say apparently not.
Do you think he lived like us?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Android Paranormal has been putting some good ones forward there, and I know that there's a lot of comments that are going on with regards to it. Also, this is a great statement. Let's do more of these live investigations. It all depends what's available to Rise of Paranormal, and we'll definitely address it. And again, there are 4 questions right now. If we can try to get to in the last 2 or 3 minutes here, so let's get some quick answers. If we don't get into all the questions, if we can't answer them all, please repost them in the chat, and I'm sure Ken, myself, or someone will get into that for you. All right. One of one's important. Will Cody and Satori be at the Michigan Paracon this year?
Yes, we will be.
We'll be doing events, all kinds of events this year. You guys got more than just one, I assume.
Yes, we have a bunch of them. Go to paranormalcouple.com. I know there's some happening in, let's see, I have a list here. The next one's February 25th. There's some tickets left for the Hoover House. We won't be there in person. We're going to appear virtually. The Mary Stegmeyer Mansion in Pennsylvania on March 4th. There's tickets available for that. Sterling Hill Mining Museum with Dustin Parry on May 13th. I think there's tickets left for that. And then Michigan Paracon.
And also keep an eye on spring, summer time in New England, because we might be opening our first exhibition location. So to come see items and meet us. So.
That's right. You guys make sure you keep up with it all the time. And don't forget, too, we don't know how soon they'll be coming back to the channel. It depends on whether or not Cody could limp over to the studio. And it's every other Thursday night. It would be coming this Thursday. Are we going to have to do your job for you again this Thursday? Are you guys coming back?
Maybe. I'm going to try. I'm going to try going down, doing a practice run and seeing if I can sit down there for a while.
Okay,
we'll see.
Are you guys coming to Ocean State Paracon this year?
If there's an Ocean State Paracon, we'll be there.
There will be. We're hoping that we'll have some details on that at some point. It'll be interesting this year.
Yeah. We are absolutely out of time. As I said before, if you guys still have some continued questions, or if you're watching this post live and you have some questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. Don't forget, though, hit that subscribe button. Also, the thumbs up, very, very important. Just click on it right now as I'm just blabbing away. And also the reminder bell for upcoming content. We've got a lot of great shows on here. But we are up against the clock. We are done with the evening. I would like to thank Aaron and Julie, Cody, and Satori for joining us tonight. And we will see you guys again next week at the same time. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with us. Stay with Dead Air. And
you guys hang in there till after the show, too.
Yeah. We love you all. Take care. Thanks very much. Have a good night.
Good night.